Today's episode of Mark Who 42's WHOniverse is brought to you by Audible.com. You get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/MarkWho42. There are over 150,000 titles to choose from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. You lucky guys. That's www.audibletrial.com/MarkWho42.
Hello, this is Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who number 7, on Mark Who 42, WHOniverse. What on earth is that? I've no idea, really. All these numbers.
Welcome to Mark Who 42's WHOniverse, Doctor Who WHOniverse, that is. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me today are...
Trish-helm.
And I'm Eduardo-m-Freyre, and I have a question for all of you. Are you the Monsieur Gustave who was the concierge at the Hotel Budapest?
Oh, just because it's Oscar night doesn't mean you get to do movie impressions. Who else do we have?
Hi, everybody. Patrick-Hawkins here with Come Get Some of the Geeks of Comedy. Sitting in and loving every second of it. Thank you so much.
So now he's official.
Patrick is official. Patrick is a new member of the WHOniverse.
I have papers.
Congratulations. Did he go through the initiation?
No, you get to set up the initiation. That happens tomorrow night.
Ah, okay. So, Patrick, I'm going to need you to email me. Are there any medications, anything that you're allergic to? You know, are you afraid of confined spaces?
We can do hazing jokes all night long, but let's go first to...
Let's go first to Doctor Who News with our Doctor Who correspondent, Trish-helm. Eduardo, don't forget to ask Patrick, is he afraid of any small animals?
What are you thinking? I'm afraid to ask. So I guess the biggest news story of the past week, did everyone see that video of Michelle Gomez?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
I thought it was kind of cute. So she announced that she's back. And she is going to be in the 2-part story that opens the 9th season, The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. Those are the names of the 2 episodes. And they're both written by Stephen Moffat.
What a surprise.
Of course.
Yes.
You know, Stephen, what doesn't Stephen write?
Show of hands. Was anyone not expecting Michelle Gomez to come back? Anyone? Anyone?
I was not expecting her to come out in the immediate initial volley. I thought, all right, well, maybe towards the end of the season, but
well,
yeah.
I mean, really, when the brig shot her, she teleported out a split second before the laser bolt hit her, so she was coming back.
There's no question she was coming back. I just did not expect new season, bam, 2-parter. Here she is, but again, Moffat is an opportunist more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm like Patrick. I didn't expect her to come back so soon.
Well, Moffat said that she was an instant hit. So she's coming right back in the opener. But he says what brings her back into the lives of Clara and the Doctor is the last thing they'd expect.
The last thing.
Did he actually say Clara before the Doctor? Is that an exact quote?
No, that was paraphrased.
Oh, all right. Okay, because I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh.
Breathe, Patrick. Breathe. Breathe in, Patrick. Breathe in. Breathe
Taking
out.
my anti-Clarin right now.
Now, did you guys happen to notice in the video that appeared that she was wearing a vortex manipulator on her wrist?
I thought it was just an old bulky watch that everybody was wearing on 05, 06. I didn't notice it myself because when I saw the video, it had been predicated on, notice what she's wearing on her under wrist. So when I saw her first wrist, I was like, okay, there's a little bracelet thingy there. And then when the other hand, it's like, oh, okay, well, is that something that really is jaw-dropping, like shocking, don't reveal a secret to your friends kind of thing? I mean, come on now. Unless we get a sideline that it actually is Captain Jax or something like that.
And it might be. I mean, there was one that UNIT had in the 50th anniversary special.
That's true.
That does go back to that theory that Missy escaped via the painting when the Doctors and Clara came out of it.
Mm.
You know, you've seen the photo, right?
No, I haven't.
Screenshot?
No.
Because there's a screenshot from that sequence, and it's Clara leaving the painting, and there's a hand on the frame. The way it looks, number one, it has, I think, like a couple of rings on it.
Uh-huh.
And number two, it looks a little old to be Clara's hand.
Huh.
And then the third part is that the way it's positioned, there's no way it could have been Clara's hand. just the way the hand looks.
I'll have to go back and look at that.
So, some people are saying that, maybe that's when the Master hit the material world, when got out of the pocket universe. So could be that, grab the vortex manipulator, and maybe she didn't need a TARDIS to do all the soul collecting, as it were. She used the vortex manipulator.
Interesting theory.
I personally will always love the grandfather clock TARDIS.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so next on here, Mark, turn on the spoiler alert.
Now it's loud for me. Oh. I got to do something about the volume. Let me see if I can lower it. Okay. I think it's lowered.
Or maybe put more pleasant spoiler alert music, or a soothing.
I'm turning it off now.
This is kind of a spoiler, but
kind of a spoiler? I just played a full volume spoiler alert, and it's kind of a spoiler.
Well, there's people out there that are very particular, and so I thought.
The fact that Missy's coming back, that was a spoiler too.
It was all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah,
How could you avoid this?
I think you could call the Missy thing less of a spoiler and more like an open secret.
Gotcha. All right, so what's this kind of spoiler, Trish?
Okay, well, they were filming part of the Season 9 opener this week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, neither Peter Capaldi or Jenna Coleman were there, but they were filming a short scene with Jenna Coleman's doubles.
Huh.
And in the scene, she's riding her motorcycle, and she runs into a pair of students from Coal Hill. And the kids are looking up at the sky, and they look worried. I guess there's supposed to be a plane in the sky that is somehow frozen in the sky. Frozen. Now, Clara doesn't seem very fazed by it, though. When she talks to the kids, she just says to them, "Exciting, isn't it?" And one of the kids says, "I'm frightened." And she says, "Same thing. Shouldn't you be in school?"
Boy, that's excellent Stephen Moffat writing.
Yes.
I'm so proud to be a fan of Doctor Who.
And then earlier this week, they were also filming, and Jenna Coleman was in the school, and she was looking out the window up at the sky again. So something to do with the sky.
Something to do with the sky and Missy. Missy in the sky with diamonds. I don't know. That goes along with our birthday music. It'll be a little bit later.
All right. The other week, we talked about the Torchwood audio plays that are going to be coming.
Mm-hmm.
And Eve Miles, who played Gwen, she is slightly hopeful that maybe this will lead into season 5 of Torchwood.
Oh, I hope.
She said she would not turn it down if she was, offered it, but she'll believe it when she sees it because she knows how, these things work. But she says if it does happen, it would all be thanks to the fans, because she says no matter where she's been in the world, to all the conventions and things like that, everybody always asks her, when is the next season coming?
It's still mostly a Davies thing, though, Torchwood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
RTD.
it's so I'm not sure if it's up to him per se, or is it like him trying to convince the Beeb to give him another shot at it?
I think the Beeb has to give it an okay. I think RTD would say yes if the Beeb gave it the go ahead.
Yeah.
Is RTD working on anything right now?
He is. He's working on some. Actually, it's on the air in England now. There are 3 series: 1 series for Channel 4, 1 for E4. And 1 for 4 on Demand. They're all basically the same show, but different aspects of it. And it's kind of like a successor to Queer as Folk. It's a gay drama. And on Channel 4, they have the 8-episode series. And then on E4, which is for younger people, there are 1-episode spin-off anthologies coming off of the episode that was just on Channel 4 just before it. And then on 4 on Demand is a making of the episode that was just on. But I think I made a joke about it a couple of weeks ago on the radio show, but I ended up editing it out because the names of the shows are so suggestive that you guys were like, where did that come from? And I just thought, cut. One of the shows is called Cucumber, Really? Yeah, really, pretty much. Pretty much. You don't even have to insert joke there. The joke is the title right there. RTD.
Good one, Patrick.
He's been thinking about making this new series that just came out. He's been working on it ever since the days of Queer as Folk. He's had his mind to do another gay drama, and he finally got the opportunity to do it.
Oh, hey, I totally wish him luck with that, because I saw some passive episodes of Queer as Folk, and it got the thumbs up from all of my alternative lifestyle friends. So, hey, right on. I honestly think that is probably where his real passion is. As much as we owe him for bringing Doctor Who back and all the stuff he did, I'm okay with him moving on.
Right. Of course, he will come back and do a Doctor Who movie the second someone gives him the go for it. But that's not going to happen.
Do we count?
No, we don't. actually.
Okay, so as soon as one of the powers that be at BBC gives them the go-ahead.
Yeah, that would be the correct way to say the phrase. Excuse me.
I would challenge him. I'd be like, okay, you can have you have 2 hours of Doctor Who. Whether you do 2 1-hour one-parters or a movie, that's fine. But you don't get Rose.
Oh.
And see if he can run with that. If he can do it without his pet Mary Sue, then I would be genuinely intrigued.
That's a good point. Rose was kind of a Mary Sue back then, but I had never heard of that phrase back then, so I didn't call her that.
Well, then again, unlike certain other Mary Sues, Rose at least was off camera for a while, and we did get Martha, and more importantly...
Yeah, but then we got Rose talked about over and over in the Martha stories. I think that's one of the reasons why in the Valentine's episode there was a disliking of the Martha character, because Rose was still really there.
And she was still talked about. I mean, when Jack came back, he was like, Doctor, where's Rose?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
And he was pining for Rose the whole time. I'm sorry.
He's like the when Davros breaks in the street, he's like, hello, Rose, is that you?
Trish.
All right. FBS Publishing, they have announced that there's going to be a new book coming out that's aimed to help new Whovians discover what Doctor Who's all about.
Isn't that what we do?
Sort of, huh?
Yeah, I think
if they find us, yes.
Yeah.
But the title of the book, it's called What's All the Fuss About? An Introduction to Doctor Who. And it's written by Will Hardcroft and Ian Wheeler. Basically, it's an overview of each Doctor's era, and they recommend stories to try. And they give you essential information that you need to know. And it's basically just an introduction to Doctor Who.
I'm very interested in hearing their suggestions about, okay, if you want to get the gist of this Doctor, watch this story, and this story. And I'm sure we'll be discussing it here, because that is going to be rife for interpretation.
Yeah, I think we're going to have
reassessment.
Well, I can think of one off the bat where I would be interested to see what they say. The Third Doctor. Because as a character, he was different when he came in from when he came out. So what do you point as being the definitive Third Doctor story?
Okay. Well, I've got my answer. I have one that I know should be in it, and it'll be a real short chapter.
Okay.
Paul McGann, Night of the Doctor. That's it. That's it. Goodbye. That's all, folks.
Okay, but we're talking the Third Doctor.
If we're talking TV episodes, Night of the Doctor. If we're talking everything, all the big finish.
But what I brought up was the Third Doctor.
I understand you brought up the Third Doctor, but I thought the Eighth Doctor was funnier.
Okay, but see, this is the thing. Okay, but talking seriously, the Third Doctor, his character was a very different person when he came in from when he came out, from when he regenerated. So then the question is, if you have to pick one, what do you choose? If you have to give somebody one episode of the Third...
They pick more than one. They're going to pick
a couple. Well, in this particular case, I would say you do need a couple, because you can't just say, oh, watch The Time Warrior. That's the definitive Third Doctor story.
That wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
So this book will be published on March 5th of this year, and it's actually available to pre-order on the FBS Publishing website.
Well, that's next week. Wow.
The pre-order price is £7.
£7? Is it just in print, or is it ebook?
It didn't say, so it's like about $12, $13, yeah.
Yeah. Plus shipping if it's not an ebook. That's why I ask. Mm-hmm. Shipping is the problem.
I really hope they do an American version, because given how much Doctor Who has made inroads over here, it would be a great idea.
It would.
I mean, seriously, put an American version, because you would have a nice market. Seriously.
Seems like it would make sense. I don't know, unless there's one thing. It's one thing I can immediately think of. It might behoove them to have it done by an American team, because I think there may be some slight cultural differences that would make it more palatable to American audiences versus neophyte American audiences versus neophyte, say, European audiences.
Good point.
Yeah.
Titan Comics, they've announced that Paul Cornell, who wrote Father's Day and the Human Nature two-parter, he is writing a special multi-Doctor comic book series that brings together the 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors.
Oh.
It's going to be a 5-part storyline, and it's going to replace the regular 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctor comic book series. And it's going to run weekly from mid-August through the end of September. That's all we know so far, like who's actually drawing it. It's still all under wraps for now.
Gotcha.
We do know who the companions are. As far as the companions are concerned, the only TV companion is Clara. For the other two doctors, the companions are going to be comic creations. One is named Gabriela Gonzalez, and the other, and if I'm mispronouncing this, all due apologies, Alice Obifun? It's
Obi-Wan
spelled
Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Well, it's spelled...
That's immediately what I thought.
Yeah, her last name is spelled Obiefune.
Oh.
So, however you pronounce Obifune, however you pronounce
Right.
that. But yeah, it's going to be comic creations, Gabriella and Alice. Right. There we go.
Yeah, those are the characters.
Yes.
I'm curious if the doctors are actually going to legitimately cross over, because they've done this red herring before. It involves all the doctors. It could just be the same MacGuffin. It could be the doctors coming back to the same place over and over again, having adventure. I mean, ideally, yes, we'd all like to see them on the same panels and stuff like that, but we've been burned by this promise before. Also, my question too is this just a marketing thing?
Yes.
About but in the sense of we only use the recent doctors, or I'm beginning to think that maybe somebody in the chain of command up at the BBC office has a real hesitation to allow classic doctors and new doctors crossover.
In Doctor Who, Star Trek Next Generation Assimilation Squared, there was a short interlude with the Fourth Doctor. They did use a classic, but that was IDW. Titan, I don't know.
Yeah, see, I don't know. There seems a recalcitrance that I find frustrating, because I'm sure writers have got to be, I would love for 11 and 2 to get together for a special. I would love to, as opposed to there's always been this separation of the 3 or say 4 modern versus the classics, with McGann Patrick, stuck in the middle.
Patrick, if I may respond.
Yes.
Okay, it's one thing with TV, and it's another thing we're talking to print medium. First off, this is Titan Comics. Do we really know the particulars of the publishing deal Titan has with BBC? Do they have access to the classic doctors? Can they use the classic doctors if they wanted to? The other thing is, it could be a marketing thing that ties into the fact that we're in the 10th year of New Who. So that may be why there are no classic doctors. They're just using the current, since we're celebrating 10 years of the current era. A question, though, that has been brought up, because I did post about it on our website and I shared it to Facebook. One of the friends of the podcast, Christopher Turner, he did share it. He did share it on his own Facebook page, and somebody did respond they weren't interested because of the non-presence of 9. See, that I think is a bigger question. Why would Titan not have all 4 current doctors? Of course, then again, we don't know the plot, so it could be that 10, 11, 12 are the most active doctors in the story, and perhaps 9 is around, but much like 4 and the 5 doctors, can't take part. Something has blocked him. Maybe he's in a time eddy, much like 1 and 2 in Dimensions in Time. He's been captured. We don't know.
I don't dispute it. I'm just always kind of interested in the constraints on the business side of it and the licensing side of it, because sometimes it may sound like a conspiracy theory, but a lot of times and we certainly know the BBC has always been very weird about the doctors and whatnot, blaming Sylvester McCoy directly for the end of the series. Like that Dottie woman at the Beeb in the interview that she gave. It's like, what? Yeah, like he wrote the episodes and everything else. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to this new series, and interested to see where they go.
Oh yeah, me too. Patricia, I think we need a comic shop run. Definitely. Comic shop run in August.
Yeah, thank goodness we have one here. All right, let's move on to the birthdays.
Okay, we love birthdays here at Mark Who 42. Let's go.
Okay, well, we missed one.
Oh, did you? Did you? And I say you, not we, because I wasn't here last week. Who did you miss?
We missed Christopher Eccleston's birthday. It was on February 16th.
I don't know what to say. Christopher, happy belated
Poor
birthday.
9.
Happy belated birthday, 9.
Well, if he cared about what Doctor Who fans felt about him, I feel bad. But
He does. He helps someone get engaged.
I've never thought that he hates Doctor Who fandom or anything else. But again, obviously he had a lot of issues with his gig, and he just wants to move on. And I can appreciate that. I mean, this way, I've never heard any direct quote saying that he hated the fandom or anything like that. So, and I will always give him props for that too, because it would be very easy. And I've seen actors do this, get very petulant and confuse a bad gig and hold its fans accountable for that bad gig. And he seems as not. He's always been like, no comment. I'd rather talk about like things that are much better, like G.I. Joe and stuff like that.
Gone in 60 Seconds,
Yeah. But hey, happy birthday to you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and for my part, if he gets a chance to hear this, Mr. Eccleston, I apologize. I did do a little happy birthday picture for you the year before, and I reused it when I posted on the website. As for the episode itself, I got to admit, as someone who is a fan of Star Wars, I got a little carried away with the fact it was Jeremy Bulloch. It was Boba Fett. I apologize. Blame me. I got all of Twitter because of Boba Fett. Okay, it's my fault and Boba Fett's. Okay, you can blame us.
Whose birthday is coming up?
Coming up on March 2nd, we actually have two birthdays. One is Alexander Armstrong.
Okay.
He's the voice of Mr. Smith on the Sarah Jane Adventures, but he was also the dad Reg in The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
Wasn't that one of our worst Christmas episodes?
It was.
I think we said that.
Yeah.
But I love them as Mr. Smith.
Yeah. By the way, I just discovered something. What? This is not Doctor Who related, but I still think this is cool, especially because I grew up watching Nickelodeon in the 80s. He is apparently going to be the voice of the lead character in a revival of Danger Mouse.
Wow, that should be good. I think he'd do good.
Patrick,
yeah.
You familiar with Danger Mouse?
Yeah, I think that was probably the only thing at Nickelodeon that I would stop and kind of watch for a bit.
You didn't watch Tomorrow People? How dare you?
I watched the Hitler was an alien episode, and I said, I was like, even I'm like, oh boy, I don't think I could go with this, Yeah, Danger Mouse was the SpongeBob of the early 80s.
David Jason was great. I loved his voice as Danger Mouse.
By the way, I heard Danger Mouse's boss is going to be voiced by Stephen Fry.
Oh, that would work. That would work.
I'm sorry, but I hope to God this comes to this side of the stage.
I'm sure it will.
Man.
So, Trish, who else's birthday is on March
2nd? Michael Troughton.
Oh,
Patrick Troughton's son.
Royalty.
Yes, and he also was Albert in Last Christmas. We just saw him not too long ago. And he also wrote a biography about his father that was published in 2011. It's called Patrick Troughton, the Biography of the Second Doctor Who.
That's a great title, Michael. Great job. No, I'm sorry. It's the title.
I thought I was supposed to be the acidic one here. Jeez.
Just letting you have a little time off on your first day. That's the office.
All right.
Hey, okay, the guy did a biography of his dad.
I know, but
come on, hats
title,
off to him.
Just a little bit plain. Do we have any other birthdays?
Nope, that is everybody for now.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't want to come back next week and have to do a rebuttal.
Well, you're kind of asking the wrong person. Yes, I report them, but I am not the one that finds them.
Oh.
That is somebody else's job.
Did you get every birthday?
Okay, as of right now, as of when we're recording this, I feel I have gotten everything. If I have not, then someone is welcome to write into the podcast, send us a message on Facebook, just say, hey, I found out that, we're, so-and-so's birthday, you missed it. Also, don't forget that we did have some birthdays the year.
Okay.
The list is come on. The list is ever changing. Okay. So we may have also covered them last year
because they only have a birthday once in their life, and if it was last year, it's not.
Well, no, they have it every year. But I do want to be fair because there have been a bunch of people who have done Doctor Who. Okay, this is 51 years.
The editing, we'll fix it in post.
51, 52, come on. It's been over 50 years. There's been a ton of people. Right. Want to cover everybody.
Trish, is that all the news we have?
That is everything for today.
Wow. Well, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I've got a special treat for you. A couple weeks ago, we had a convention down in Fort Lauderdale called Shock Pop Comic-Con, and Sylvester McCoy was one of the guests there, and I was able to get a one-on-one, or almost a one-on-one, it's not really a one-on-one, with Sylvester McCoy. And also in the interview, we have David John, who played Derek in Sylvester McCoy's last story, Survival. So we will have that interview when we come back. We'll be right back here on Krypton Radio with more of Mark Who 42's universe. Attention all Whovians! While you're waiting for the new episode of Doctor Who, start your own adventures with a book from Mark Who 42 Books. They carry unique and rare books at affordable prices. Visit Amazon.com/shops/Mark-Who42. That's Amazon.com/shops/Mark-Who42. Mark Who 42 Books. Set your imagination free into the Whoniverse.
Hey, I'm Gary.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chuck.
And I'm Justin.
Join the four of us every week on the Internet's #1 and longest-running G.I. Joe podcast, What's on Joe Mind?
It's Joe news, reviews, and interviews like you've never heard them before, delivered right to your MP3 player.
Our guests include Jason Marsden, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Matt Yang King from G.I. Joe Renegades, Larry Hama, Robert Adkins, and John Barber from IDW Publishing, and many more from around the online Joe community.
Yeah, it's guys talking about Joe. Think of it as Joe Talk meets sports talk. And we make fun of Chuck.
Right, and we hey again?
Come on, Chuck. We're just kidding, kinda.
Sometimes Chuck makes fun of himself.
Right, and we... Okay, seriously, this is just getting ridiculous now.
It's What's on Joe Mind, every week on the Geekcast Radio Network, InsidePulse.com, Stitcher Smart Radio, and iTunes. Download and listen today.
I suppose I still can't say something about Transformers, can I?
Good.
No.
What about sports?
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's all right.
Welcome to Dr. Geek's Moment of Science. Here is the lab director and your human host, Dr. Geek.
Hello, everyone. For today's Moment of Science, I would like to talk about the Oscars, or as we like to call it around here, Passover. You don't have to be Madame Oracle to predict that the 19th century period drama is going to win the Oscar for Best Costume Design. Sure, designing costumes for that alien culture no one's ever seen is extremely difficult, but that tuxedo from 1890? Why, there has to be only 100,000 examples of that lying around.
Attention. Extreme sarcasm detected.
Thanks, Deos. You're right, this is a moment of science, not a moment of sarcasm. I shouldn't be bitter that the recognition for most science fiction and fantasy films is relegated to the technical awards. Without the advancements in science, there would be no movie industry. Did you know the Frenchman Louis Lumiere invented the motion picture camera in 1895? While many others were experimenting with motion pictures around the same time, what Lumiere invented was called the cinematograph. It was actually 3 inventions in one: a portable motion picture camera, a film processing unit, and a projector. In fact, the Lumiere brothers were the first to present their motion picture to a paying audience of more than one person. So sit back and enjoy the Oscars, and remember to apply your geekdom!
This Moment of Science was brought to you by Dr. Geek's Laboratory of Applied Geekdom, a Brazen Wench production, copyright 2015, in association with this network. Join the adventure. Download the full Labcast at www.drgeeklab.com and follow us at facebook.com/drgeeklab and twitter.com/drgeeklab.
Kid? Yes? Shut up.
Beyond the Night is the GCRN's latest review podcast. We are covering everything in the Knight Rider television universe, from the classic 80s TV series to the 1991 reunion film, Team Knight Rider, and the 2008 relaunch series as well. So join TFG and Mike and Dion the Music Man as they go in-depth and Beyond the Night only on Geekcast Radio Network. You can find Beyond the Night in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com.
Kid?
Yes, Michael.
Just keep driving.
This is Andrew Cartmel, and it is my master plan to listen to Mark 42's WHOniverse, and I'd like you to make it yours too.
Hi, welcome back to Mark 42's WHOniverse on Krypton-radio. I'm, of course, your host, Mark Baumgarten, and we've got with me Samantha-Rose-Barone is going to help interview. We've got 2 guests here that I think you'll really enjoy. The first, of course, is the doctor himself, number 7, Sylvester McCoy. Hi, Sylvester.
Hello, that was poetry you just did there.
Well, thank you very much. And we also have a special guest, David John, who you played Derek in Survival and Liam McShane in A Big Finish audio.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Nice to meet you.
So, Liam McShane, does that make you Ace's...
There's all sorts of Ace connections. Obviously, a friend in one of them, and another friend in the Big Finish as well.
Well, but McShane is her last name, right, so you should be a relative.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Funny enough, look like they could be related when they were younger.
They're a similar look.
Yeah. Could be brothers and sisters.
But also Dave does, he runs a company that does ADR. He did the last season of Doctor Who. So yeah, Dave got that connection with Doctor Who.
Right.
The up-to-date connection.
Yeah, we did the last series, which was, the Capaldi one.
Yeah, we love Capaldi, didn't we?
I do appreciate him, and I like a lot of the stories he's been in. I'm not really feeling the companion connection, which I think there's some lacking there, and I think some improvement there could really make it take off.
Sometimes that's a difficult thing because when you have to take over someone else's doctor's companion, their chemical mix works, then you come along and it kind of can be jarring a bit, not as smooth.
But I think, in my opinion, the way they've written it has kind of made her very standoffish towards him. I think potentially Clara and Capaldi could have more chemistry if they wrote it in, because I think they're both very good actors, and I think if they wrote it that way, I think they could do it.
Yeah. So, Sylvester, we met on a cruise back in 1988.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we were in the Caribbean.
Yeah,
we went to Mexico. It was nice.
Kind of that we're at the Port Authority here.
We're at the Port Authority here. You've done a lot of Dan Harris's cruises, haven't you?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy going on the cruises. I'm an inveterate traveller. I like to go places and see new things, and it's a lovely way to do it. It's very relaxing.
I like cruises. Cruises are nice.
Sylvester, you are heavily into Big Finish now. You do Big Finish. You've been working with them for, I think, 15, 16 years now.
Yeah, from the very beginning. Yeah, because, before that, Sophie and I were making pirated versions of Doctor Who, calling them the Professor and
the Professor and Ace, and then it was the Dominic and Alice. I've actually got a few at my table.
And so we kind of kept it going after it was, they tried to kill it off.
Right.
And it was all fans based as well, and then these two fans got it together and did it very professionally.
Yeah.
And that was Jason and Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary Russell.
Gary Russell.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russells in Doctor Who, aren't there? There's Gary Russell.
They do all sorts of things, though, don't they? Big Finish. It's not just Doctor Who.
Oh, no.
All sorts of...
It started off principally as Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But now it's spread.
I think it started with Benny. I think Bernice Summerfields were the first ones they did, and then they got Doctor Who.
Oh, did they? Right. Yeah.
They did adaptations of The New Adventures without you.
Yeah.
Because they continued your character for several years in the books.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I know.
Did you read any of the books?
No, because they never paid me any money, the bastards.
Even when they had your likeness on the cover?
They never gave me zilch. They said in the very early days, it was run by Virgin, or it was run by the BBC, or it was run by somebody else, and then it kept changing. The first lot were decent, and they used to send me a book and £50, And it wasn't a lot of money, but it was just a gesture. Yeah. Right. And then suddenly they changed, someone else started publishing them, and zilch.
Yeah. Oh.
So I'm not, I'm not going to give them money to read about me. I can look in the mirror and talk to me.
I was curious. I'm sure you've been asked a million times about your favorite episode and your least favorite episode, but I was curious as to what episode you thought was the worst to film, but that came out great.
Well, I suppose Survival, really, because it was kind of it was hard to film. It was we were out in what I've named the desert of Dorset, which is a huge sandpit, miles by miles. And it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was uncomfortable. There was no shade. And, it was really difficult to make. One of the other actors had a bad back, and he was terrified of horses. And he had to be on the back of a horse with me. And the horse had been an upstaging horse. It had its own, it was famous itself. For doing an advert for Lloyd's Bank. And so every time they said action, the horse looked into the camera and went, and that was not required, so we had to. It was a nightmare.
The heat was unbelievable.
Over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Britain.
The hottest day of the year for many years, and we were in this.
It was the hottest, and yet it turned out rather well. The only slight drawback was maybe the cat people. The makeup wasn't the best, but also the other sadness was the cat. They originally had a real cat. It was supposed to be a trained cat, and they opened the cage. The cat came out and vanished. Disappeared into the bush.
Into Perryvale.
In Perryvale.
I guess he wasn't that well trained.
Never to be seen again. And so panic, they had to do, and so they had an animatronic cat. Have you seen it? It was only meant to be a split-second look.
Right.
It was built for. So they didn't make it too sophisticated. But they were stuck with that cat. And so when you see the survival again, you see this cat going, and you go, oh my goodness.
So when you watch it, look out for the cat.
Look out for the cat, and it's really unfortunate. Bad luck that we didn't, the cat ran away.
But it was quite well written, wasn't it, Survivor?
Yeah.
It was Rona
Monroe, who's now become a top
big star, yeah. So it was early work from her.
It was great. And I was very pleased because it was my first. I wanted a female writer because when I was kind of very strongly wanted to, bring in a more feminist side to it when I started, and that's why my second companion wasn't a screamer, was more, kind of ballsy.
Right.
That was the old thing, and I was delighted when we got a female writer, because there weren't many of them.
No, there weren't. We've had Andrew Cardinal on the show, the script editor for you, and we talked about the Cardinal master plan. That it wasn't called it then, but where they were making the Doctor more mysterious. You didn't know things about him. Were you really into that? Was that where you wanted the show to go? And would you have liked it to go further?
No, yes. All the questions, yes. I mean, they all call it. It was our plan. It was I'd come to him. I realised halfway through the first season that there's so much more to be done with Doctor Who, and I was completely ignorant of Doctor Who, which in one way was a blessing, one way was a curse. But realised that this is one of the great acting roles in television. You can do anything with this. So, and also my grandmother was over 100, and she had lived a long time, and she was fit, but there was a weariness, and she'd seen a lot of people dying and all that. And I thought, wait a minute, the Doctor's 900. I want to bring all that to him. Mm-hmm. So I went to Andrew Cartmel and said, I want to bring this darker side. I also want to go back and make the mystery. Right. I mean, I want him to be mysterious again. I want the Who to mean something. I was disappointed when I heard that. I said, too many of the other Doctors' lives have been exposed. We know too much about them. Let's go back there. And so together we came up with the Andrew Cartmel plan. Yeah. But it should be the Sylvester McCoy and Andrew Cartmel plan.
You heard it here. Okay.
No, it is. I mean, it was, I was very passionate and can remember quite clearly that I wanted to take it in that dark. And I said, can I have a darker jacket? Mm-hmm. To bring, kind of visually darker thing to it. So that was how it started, really.
What do you think about how Stephen Moffat has brought the mystery back into...
Well, what was lovely about that was the 50th anniversary. We had a party afterwards, and Stephen Moffat came up to me and said, listen, my son is you're one of his favourite Doctors, can I have your autograph? And then he said, I have to say that your Doctor changed the direction of Doctor Who. And he said before that it was more cartoon-like. This wasn't a negative thing, it was more superhero, that. I can't remember them, but he said that I'd brought a darker side, as we've just discussed, that this had changed the direction, and that had inspired the new Doctors, the writers, and for the new Doctors and all that stuff.
What do both of you think of the new Doctor, Peter Capaldi?
I like him. I think it's good. I mean, it makes a change. I mean, it surprised me that he was the oldest Doctor ever, because I thought as a kid, I thought Troughton and William Hartnell were old, because they weren't that old. It's just I was really young. And I quite like that, going from the young guy, Matt Smith, to suddenly a more mature, and he is quite serious. I mean, there is some comedy in it, but it's kind of played straight, isn't it? And the comedy isn't from that. So I think he'll be around for a while. I think he's good. I like him.
Sylvester?
Yeah, no, I agree with Dave. I think he's always thought, when I heard, they were going to cast a 12-year-old, I thought, oh gosh, no. Why? No. But I mean, I must admit, when I saw the 12-year-old, I thought he was brilliant. Yeah. Matt Smith, he's got a face that is so extraordinary, and you believe that he's been around for 950 years, as well as being a 12-year-old at the same time, if you get my meaning. So I enjoyed him. I thought he was terrific. But for me, I always thought it was great that we in Britain, or the world, had a superhero who was old.
Yeah.
And also in the Anglo-Saxon society, we do not treat our old as well as we should do. And, it's good that children are growing up, because in Britain, the majority of our audience are children, and for Doctor Who, which Americans always find unusual. But children growing up and having this superhero as an older person, so that they will respect old people. They will know that they've got wisdom, and they know that they use their brain, not their brawn. And I thought that was very important to have that superhero like that, because we know there are many other superheroes, and they all wear their underpants outside their trousers, and that's great. And, but they don't use their brains; they use their brawn. So for me, it was very. And when it started to move younger, I was actually going, I don't know. Although it did work. I mean, it was successful. It did work. But for me, I'm glad they've gone back to an older one. Yeah. And it's important that society has old heroes. They don't just stick us in homes. Yes, nurse, I'm coming in a minute. Yes, I'll come get my tea ready.
Milk, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, nurse. Yes. Now, where the old doctors go, they stick you in homes.
There have been enough doctors now to have a home.
Yes, there is. Yes.
The doctor's home for the doctor. The doctor's home for the doctor.
It sounds like you were able to make suggestions when you were the doctor, and I was curious, if you were on the show now, what suggestions would you make? What direction would you suggest they take it in?
Well, you put me in a bit of a... I haven't seen much of the new stuff. I mean, I watched Peter's first one because I was around, but I've been travelling and, I haven't been able to catch up with it. So my suspicion is, from what I'm hearing, is that it's going in a direction that perhaps I would have quite liked it to have gone in. Yeah, I think that if I was doing it now, Peter Capaldi would be pissed off. Although the accent could be the same, you know what I mean? It's easy to fall into it, Hello there, Doctor. How are you, Scots? They were, Scotland nearly declared independence.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they tried to frighten the Scots about was they kept saying to them, if you go independent, you will not get Doctor Who. Because the BBC, you see, will not be, one of those things.
Right.
But I thought, wait a minute, Moffat is a Scot.
Yeah.
He's running the thing. Peter Capaldi is a Scot.
Right.
And then there's David, and there's me.
Yeah.
I said, it's the English that should be worried about if we go independent. They're going to lose Doctor Who.
How are you enjoying your time in the United States? What's the difference between British fandom and American fandom? David?
Well, I've been to a couple of conventions in Britain for Doctor Who, and it seems to be a lot bigger here. It seems to be this size of this. Obviously it's not just Doctor Who,
right?
But they seem to be much bigger. From what I hear from Sylvester as well,
it's actually one of our smaller ones.
It's the size of it and the amount of adults who are so interested in Doctor Who and the plots, etc. But as for our time in the US, we're having a wonderful time. We've been here 4 days now. We're moving up to Orlando tonight.
Oh, good.
But we've enjoyed Fort Lauderdale. Was lovely. We've had a lovely time. Been down to the beach this afternoon. Had a walk up the road. It was really beautiful. It's a lovely part of the world.
While I was working.
Yeah. Some have to work, I'm on holiday.
What do you think the difference between American and British fandom?
There is a more adult following in America. There is a very strong adult following now in Britain.
Yeah.
But, originally it was meant as a science fiction educational program, for kids in Britain. And I remember when I first started coming over here in the 80s, American fans were saying, wow, children are allowed to watch this, so...
Well, some of the Philip Hinchcliffe stories were very graphic.
I know. As you say, there are the kind of... But
and there was I think there was a rape scene in a William, not shown, but in a William Hartnell story there was an off-screen rape. So the show.
In the newer series, they've definitely spiced it up a bit. You've got couples, you've got kids, you've got relationships, you've got Amy Pond forcing herself on the Doctor.
Yeah, well,
What do you think about hanky panky in the TARDIS?
I don't think there should be any hanky panky in the TARDIS.
Okay, you agree?
As far as the characters on the screen are concerned.
Right.
I mean, there has been hanky-panky in the TARDIS, but that's not on screen.
That's just the actors.
Just the actors.
Not the characters.
Are we talking Tom and Lala?
We're talking
Are we talking you?
It was a really fun shoot. I mean, as hard as it was in the quarry, the time we was in Lulworth Cove, weren't we? And it was a lovely bunch of people. I mean, Julian Holloway was on it as well.
It was Julian that had the bad back.
Right,
And he was on the horse, and he was so scared on the horse, and he was hugging, he's behind me. And he's a big, strong guy, and I was trying to I had a very long speech with this upstaging horse, and trying to get it out before I had any breath left, because Julian was strangling me with fear.
Seems he's a really good actor.
He's brilliant. He is. He's still in America. He's in America.
Yeah, he's done lots of work. It's a really nice crowd, and we were down a beautiful part of England, Lulworth Cove, in a nice little hotel. Not flash, but a nice kind of, a one-off hotel. With a little swimming pool out the back, and it's hard work, but we had really nice evenings.
Yeah, we had a party on the beach, and John Nathan Turner's dog ate my pullover. I remember. But you might have seen, because if you watch the Curse of Fenric, is it? That's the Second World War one?
Yes.
Well, in that, Lulworth Cove, you see it. It's where the Russians come through,
the arch.
The arch.
That's Durdle Door.
Yeah, which is just on the other side of Lulworth Cove.
Jurassic Coast, that is.
And you got to work with Nicholas Parsons on that one.
Yeah, Nicholas. He was he loves it still.
Yeah.
Because, he was an actor originally.
Right.
And before he would have been more of a presenter and personality, but and so for him, and people when they heard he was going to be in it, they were saying, "Oh no, you can't have him." But he gave a lovely, touching performance as that vicar, I thought.
They said the same thing about Ken Dodd. I mean, you had a lot of comedians and people that normally wouldn't be Doctor Who. That I guess was stunt casting, is what they called it.
Yeah.
That JNT was doing.
Yeah.
Well, Hale and Pace.
Yeah, they were in it.
In Survival, they had a double act, and they were on the show.
They were just comedians.
Yeah.
They weren't actors, but they came in and did that.
Yeah.
And there was people talking about that, saying, "No, they shouldn't be on it."
Yeah, but it worked.
It did work. That was a good scene.
An unusual way.
It would be remiss if I didn't bring up The Hobbit, because you are now Radagast Brown for time immediate.
Radagast Brown. That's how you say it, really. If you spell it, there's 5 R's in the Radagast, and there's 4 R's in the Brown.
Okay. How is it working with Peter Jackson?
It was amazing, really. Quite amazing. He's a very down-to-earth bloke. He's really nice. He creates a great atmosphere in the studio, and he picked a group of actors he knew they were going to be working for 2 or 3 years, and he made sure that they were good, nice people. There was only one bad apple, but he disappeared before I arrived. But it was just one.
I won't ask you that.
Well, I couldn't even remember his name. I can hardly remember my own name now. When's this nurse coming with my tea? Anyway.
With a memory milk.
Yeah.
Memory milk.
Yeah.
There we go.
But no, it was great working with him. Yeah.
I got a question.
This is Patrick Brett.
Hobbit. Since Gandalf the Grey had an unfortunate demise and became Gandalf the White, wouldn't Radagast also become Radagast the Grey? Since the Grey slot is now open?
No, I'm happy to be brown.
Brown?
Yes.
With bird poop on you?
They need but the white just represents the leader, so the gray is the same position as the brown. It's not necessarily that kind of hierarchy, from my understanding.
Have you read the book, Sylvester?
Yes. No, I have. I read it. I read it to my sons when they were young. And then when I was offered the part, I thought I must rush home and read it again. And Peter had said to me, because originally I was out for Bilbo Baggins and Lord of the Rings, and I got down to 2 actors, and I was one of them. And it went to Ian Holm and not to me. And then he said, "Well, it was meant," he said, "because we've written you a bigger part than Bilbo Baggins and Lord of the Rings." And so I ran home to read it, and it was only half a paragraph.
I know, Radagast is hardly in the book, and yet...
But it turned out he did boost it. He did build it up for me, but at the time when I looked at it, I thought, "Oh my God, what have I accepted?"
Because he's a big Doctor Who fan, isn't he?
Well, yes, that was a lovely thing. 3 years we were working, but he never let on. And then the very last day, he made a which he did with all the actors. When it was your last day's filming, he made a speech and gave you a present and said, for 3 years, you get to know people. And then he suddenly said, it's been really nice working with Sylvester, blah, blah, blah. And then he went at the very end, he said, I got to work with Doctor Who! And that was it. The 3 years, he never mentioned it until that moment. And it was the way he did it, like a child, the excitement. It was building up. It was so sweet. It was just so nice. Such a lovely thing to do, really.
What is your next job coming up? What are you doing next?
Well, I've got a little film where I play a magician coming up in March. Yeah, I come back from Germany. I go to Germany for a big Hobbit convention. And I did one last year, I think. Or was it the year before? And it's kind of an annual. They're really big into Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And the first time I went to it, I could not believe how many bearded ladies turned up, because they all came dressed as their favourite dwarfs. And there were a lot of hugging going on. They were into hugging. And I never thought I'd ever live to enjoy hugging a bearded lady. But now I'm looking forward to going to Germany to hug those bearded ladies.
Travis Ritchie would be very angry at me if I didn't mention the Inspector Chronicles, because aren't you signed up for the untitled motion picture?
Well, they said, would you like to do it? I said, yeah.
But it's still not happening.
I forgot about it. It's in the works. It's in the bikes. You know what it's like.
Mark 42, we donated some money towards the movie, so hopefully it'll be made.
Hopefully, I don't know. No, I'd be delighted if it happens. Absolutely delighted. But I say yes to everything.
You said yes to us.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Pleasure.
What is your opinion on the possibility of the Doctor eventually being female?
Because that has come back up again.
Oh, I know. It comes all the time.
Yeah. Ever since Jan.
But the thing is, he's a Time Lord, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a bit weird him taking on a lady's skin. It would be a bit odd, a Time Lord inside a lady's body.
Well, we have the Master is now Missy.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That seems all right.
Yeah, they've made that step.
Yeah. So it is a slow step. Maybe it will be.
Yeah. I mean, Time Lords and Time Ladies may be the same.
I'd be interested to see. I mean, they could try it out, couldn't they? Just to see if it works. Yeah. I don't know. It's like...
Big Finish did it once, didn't they?
Big Finish. Annabelle Weir was... But she was the Doctor that when she regenerated into the female, it was punishment by the Time Lords. So it was punishment. So that's not actually a good thing.
Punishment to be a woman?
Yeah, punishment to be a woman. So it wasn't actually a very good thing. It wasn't a very good thing.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to do that way if they do it in the series.
Well, they've opened the door for it, I think. I think what they've said is some people have said that they thought it might be hard to explain to kids, the switch. But I think down the road, it's something they've hinted at that they might go that way.
Yeah. Well, David, John, Sylvester, thank you very much for coming on Mark 42's Whoniverse. And
pleasure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Pleasure.
I'd like to thank Samantha-Rose-Barone and Patrick Brett for interjecting in the interview. Thank you once again, Sylvester McCoy and David John, and I hope to see you. Like you said to me, Sylvester, 25 years will be too long if we don't see each other before then again. I interviewed him 26 years ago. I have a picture on... I may put that picture up on the website. It might be on the website. I should. I have a picture of young Mark 42 interviewing young Sylvester McCoy on a cruise ship. Yeah, I think I should. You know what else will be on the page? I'll have a video of Sylvester McCoy playing the spoons on me. We'll put that on the page too. So if you're listening to us on Krypton Radio, you should also go to our podcast page at marku42.net and get to look at the picture of young Marku42 interviewing Sylvester McCoy and watch Sylvester McCoy play the spoons on yours truly. It was fun. Convention-wise, we've got a convention coming up. I want to definitely point this out. Patrick, Christian, and I will be at MegaCon Orlando. Is that right, Patrick?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes,
on Sunday, I believe that the exact time slot is yet to be announced, but I believe it's booked for Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's Sunday. We have a tentative time, but I don't think I should give it. The room only holds about 235 people, so it will be first come, first serve. But it will be a Mark 42's Whoniverse, the Doctor Who panel. It's going to be on April 10th through 12th is the convention. It's in Orlando. And Jenna Coleman and Karen Gillan will be some of the special guests there. Also, a lot of people from Firefly, Stan Lee will be there for the 4th year in a row. That's cool. Stanley's a great guy. So we're going to have a good time there. And like Patrick said, we will have a panel on Sunday. Room and time to be announced.
My geek comedy team, the Geeks of Comedy, will also be performing at MegaCon as well. I have not gotten my final confirmation, so yeah, I'm going to hold off on that. But yes, we'll be slinging some geek humor, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting weekend. MegaCon is rapidly becoming almost at the cusp of the A-list of conventions.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great generalist convention too. It's a great way to bring somebody in that you know is like kind of interested in geekdom, because you get a great sampling of everything: comic books, anime, features, horror, you name it.
It's been a great convention before. It's been running for a long time. This one will be great, too.
Trish, should we tell the nice listening audience where they can see us, you and I?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
A couple of months later, at the end of June, Patricia and I will be at RageCon in Reno, Nevada.
Wow.
Actually, as we record this, Trish and I have a meeting later to speak with the organizers. We will, of course, have our own little Mark Who 42 panel, but chances are, and again, this is pending final confirmation, there may be more that we do. Trish and I have ideas, but we will keep you informed. You know, anybody who's on this side of the country, who's in the Reno area, who's in California, anyone who feels that they don't have the time or the money to go all the way over to Orlando, we are taking care of you guys. You will get your Mark Who 42. I think that's been part of our plan, hasn't it, Mark? To make sure everybody gets involved. We get something for everybody, because we love all of you. East Coast, West Coast. No feuding here. Am I right?
Yeah, we don't want any feuds, that's for darn sure.
Yeah, there you go. No feuds. No feuds, man. No east side, west side here. We just share the love.
That's about all the time we have for this edition of Mark Who 42's Universe. We hope you enjoyed listening to us. Don't forget to find old episodes at markwho42.net. and join the WHOniverse Army as well. Go to iTunes. You can download old shows there, too. Definitely go to FloridaGeekScene.com. Geekcast Radio Network is a great place to find us. We are also, of course, as you're listening to us, on Krypton-Radio, and you can get the Krypton-Radio app. It's available for BlackBerry, for iPads, iPhones, things like that, and for Android. It's all over the Krypton-Radio app. You can listen to us 4 times a week. Definitely go to our Facebook page, Mark Who 42's WHOniverse. Tweet us at Mark Who 42. Any final words from the crew?
Don't forget to let them know we're also working with smoke signal, carrier pigeon, and Morse code.
Okay. I don't know what that meant. That's what my brain feels
Patrick,
like right now.
don't talk about my mother that way.
Oh. Patrick, any final words?
This is Mark Who 42, broadcasting the trains at all stops and all the ships at sea. Flash! Scientists predict by 1970, all American families will have a flying car.
And I have one. It's parked in my hover garage. You know what? I'd like to get a hoverboard. I'd like a hoverboard. I'm supposed to get a hoverboard this year.
Oh, one of those reproductions?
No. I'm supposed. In 2015, there should be hoverboards. We should be watching Jaws 15 in 3D. We should be able to sample Coca-Cola if we want, old-fashioned Coca-Cola. All these things should be for us, but no, we don't get it. I don't know why we're not Back to the Future anymore.
You know what? I just want my lunar fortress. I want my fortress on the moon, complete with super laser. Lunar fortress with super laser. Come on.
I want my battle TARDIS. Bye, everyone.
Why can't I have my lunar fortress? I want one.
Well, okay, you can have a lunar fortress, but you'd have to leave the show for that. We can't hook up Wi-Fi from the moon. I'm sorry. You either have the lunar fortress or you come on the show.
That's the thing with having a lunar fortress. Then you can contact the Earth and talk about how, don't mess with me, I have a lunar fortress.
You have a fortress made of green cheese? That's hardly impressive.
Bye, everyone. Mark Who 42's WHOniverse has been written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Patricia Helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Patrick-Hawkins. This show was edited, produced, and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Please visit markwho42.net and register to join and be a part of the WHOniverse Army. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42.net with the subject line ? If you have worked on Doctor Who or are working on a project relating to Doctor Who and want to be on our radio show, please email our media relations director, Christian-basel, at marku42media@yahoo.com. Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This show is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten, 2015. You're listening to Krypton Radio.